Meantime, good evening. Welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. As you know, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died last Friday. She passed away of cancer. It was a sad moment because death is always sad, no matter who dies. Death is coming for all of us someday. For that reason, we ought to mark a person's passing with a bow of respect. Take a moment for humility and perspective. Meditate on the fragility of our own lives and the lives of those we love. Remember that death is the one thing that unites every human being. No matter how powerful we imagine we are, at some point, we will be gone, all of us. In our case, we almost never agreed with Justice Ginsburg's decisions, but on Friday night's show, we did our best to show some reverence, because that's the right thing to do. The left, by contrast, made no attempt at all. Prominent progressives immediately descended into hysteria and rage, unbridled rage. They told us that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death was more than sad. They said it was a national crisis that imperiled this country's freedoms. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they told us, single-handedly kept America from descending into fascism and tyranny. Now that she's gone, only her words can keep us safe. That's an odd claim if you think about it. This is supposed to be a democracy. No one ever voted for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. No matter how much you liked her or agreed with her, she was, in the end, a single judge in a country of 350 million people. She was not God. Yet, according to the left, Ginsburg was all we had. We must obey her dying words as if they were a religious text. Her final wish supersedes our founding documents. What would Ruth Bader Ginsburg do? We must ask ourselves that, and then do it. Watch.
As a nation, we should heed her final call to us, not as a personal service to her, but as a service to the country, our country, at a crossroads.
Honor her last words that she not be replaced until a new president is installed.
She said, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." We believe that.
Her fervent wish is that the next president picked. That was the last thing she said to the public.
We know who this man is. We know who this man is. This is a man who does not care about a dying woman's final wish. Clearly.
So turn down the volume and consider for a moment the reasoning here, the argument that they're making. Nothing is more important than our Constitution. That Constitution is in grave jeopardy. That's why we must substitute an 87-year-old woman's final wish for the constitutionally prescribed process for filling a Supreme Court seat. That's what they're arguing. Got that? Pretty amusing. Keep in mind, we don't really know actually what Ruth Bader Ginsburg's final words were. Did she really leave this world fretting about a presidential election? We don't believe that for a second. If it were true, it would be pathetic. Because life is bigger than politics, even this year. We wouldn't wish final words that small on anyone. So we're going to, again, choose to believe that Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't really say that in real life, she was thinking at the end about her family and where she might be going next. Human concerns, not partisan ones. But in practical terms, it's irrelevant what she said. Ruth Bader Ginsburg doesn't get to pick her replacement from her deathbed. That's not how it works. We have a Constitution we're supposed to be defending, remember? And that's the whole point of the Constitution. If Justice Scalia had said something like that, nobody would have cared. We would have been embarrassed for him. Thankfully, he didn't say that. On some level, Democrats know all this. All this talk about Ginsburg's dying wish is ridiculous and insulting to all of us and our country. And they'll stop soon. Democrats have an alternative argument at the ready, and that's one they've been honing all year. It goes like this: do what we want or we will hurt you. That's the real argument they're making. Reza Aslan, a longtime CNN employee, wrote this in the hours after Ginsburg died. Quote, "If they even try to replace RBG, we burn the entire effing thing down." That effing thing being our country that we built. On Friday night, another Democrat tweeted instructions for how to begin that process. Quote, "We're now walking to Mitch McConnell's house to protest." More than 120,000 people liked that post, shockingly. The follow-up came a few minutes later. Quote, "His house is entirely dark, significant police presence out front. It's not clear that he's here. It's clear that he's not here, as confirmed by a neighbor who is not fond of him. People are going home." That's not a protest. That's a threat. The point of it was to terrorize Mitch McConnell and his family. McConnell knew it was coming because that's how things seem to work now. The police guarding his house are probably the only reason it's still standing. Watch. We shouldn't be surprised by that. It was just last year that another group of Democrats gathered outside Mitch McConnell's home chanting death threats. It was all on video. We put up with it, of course, so it's happened again. You get what you put up with. That's true of children, it's true of countries. And we're putting up with this, so we shouldn't be surprised. Who's doing it? Well, Trump voters are fascists, they tell us. But when was the last time Trump voters threatened Democratic politicians in their homes? It's hard to recall that happening. No. The tactics are always the same, and it's always the same people doing it. Then, in case Mitch McConnell didn't get the message, Biden voters assemble at the home of Senator Lindsey Graham. Graham chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. They wanted to honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dying wish by making sure that Graham was intimidated. Watch. These aren't spontaneous demonstrations. No, of course not. They're organized on social media, and they're happening for a reason. The Democratic Party has encouraged this extremism over and over and over again. Nightly, we tell you about it, but it never ends. It gets worse. Last night, the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer of New York, held a press conference targeting Mitch McConnell by name. Hard to imagine that, but it happened. And Schumer invited Sandy Cortez, a first-term congresswoman from the Bronx. Here's what they said.
If you want to get back at Mitch McConnell's blatant, nasty hypocrisy, call your senator and tell them not to listen to Mitch McConnell, not to be afraid of Mitch McConnell.
And to Mitch McConnell, we need to tell him that he is playing with fire.
We need to tell him that he is playing with fire. Really? That's a threat. And on Instagram, Sandy Cortez, America's most pampered revolutionary, went ahead and suggested that Democrats go further, maybe even embrace violence. Watch.
Let this moment radicalize you. We need to focus on voting for Joe Biden. I don't care if you like him or not.